Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be building an AI code reviewer entirely from Python, which will take your code from terminal and you place it there and it will tell you exactly what's wrong with it and how to fix it. And this will be done purely with Python and we're going to be doing it on VS Code or any other IDE. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and begin. So the first step we need to do is to install our GPT model to the IDE. So we're going to be using personally Anthropic today. However, if you do have another preferred GPT that you want to use, feel free to install that one instead. So basically what we have to do is we need to open here in the IDE new terminal and just type out pip install Anthropic. So once the installation is complete, we can now continue to our code. So once the installation has been complete, we now need to export our API key. So if you're also going to be using Anthropic, you simply need to go to console.anthropic.com and I will leave the link of this in the description below. So you just need to head over to that website and get the API key. Then we're going to be exporting it so that we can use the API. So now that you have received your key, we can simply head over to the console or the terminal and simply type out env Anthropic API key. Right? Then you just simply put in your API key, and I'll be using this one for this video, but generally it's advised not to share your API keys. So now that we have everything, we just export it, and now we can begin. Now to start, we simply need to import our Anthropic to the code. So we type import Anthropic. Then we do client equals Anthropic dot Anthropic. So we just need to use these lines to connect to the Anthropic, right? So now we need to put the system prompt, right? We need to tell the model what its roles are. So firstly, we're going to be giving it a persona by telling it exactly what format to respond in, right? So this format instruction is actually very critical and maybe the most important part of this video, because without it you could get a different structure for like every time you give it a prompt and it becomes really unpredictable. So when we use this prompt that I will show you guys now, the output will be consistent and it will be much easier to read. And it's usually called prompt engineering and it's actually a real skill. So notice how we're gonna do it now. So basically we do system prompt equals we do this, you are an expert Python code reviewer, right? Let's say with 10 years of experience. Then we come down. When given a Python function, you must review it. And respond. How should I say? Okay, and respond in this exact format. Now we define the format here. So let's just say summary and one sentence summary. Or let's say one sentence describing what the function does. Then we do the bugs and we'll get to the error lines in a bit. So list any bugs or logical errors. If none, write none. Let's say none found actually. It's better. Then issues, list, style issues, bad practices, or inefficiencies. If none, write none found. Then improved version. Let's see. Provide a cleaner, corrected version of the function with brief inline comments. And then we give it the final verdict, which is rate the code. And let's say, let's let it choose needs work, or let's say acceptable, good, excellent. So notice we're telling it to use section headers like bugs and issues because we want to make it easy to parse the output later. So it's actually useful to do this from now, so it will be much easier to work with it in the future. Okay, so now we can go ahead and close this and move on to the next step. Now it's time to write the review function that the model will be using. So basically what we want to do is we want to take the user's code, we want to drop it into the message and send it to the API with our system prompt, right? The one we just did. And then the API will return the text response. And yeah, let's do it now. So go ahead and write define review code. Let's say function code. And we'll do response equals client dot messages dot create. The model, we set the, since we're using Anthropic, we'll do cloud model. Let's say Opus 4.5. Then we do max tokens. Let's say we set the max tokens to 1500 since we're expecting a detailed review. And since we're analyzing code here, it should be around or higher just to be safe. Then we do system equals system prompt, right? The one we just defined earlier. Then we do the messages. We set the roles here. So let's do role user content. Let's say please review this Python code, right? Or actually, let's say Python function. Then we set the new line. So let's see, n and function code, right? So yeah, clean and simple. We just take the user's code here and we send it to the API. And yeah, then we set the max tokens to 1500 because it can change. The code reviews can either be short or it can actually go very detailed. So we're doing 1500, but feel free to set it to your own specific demands. Now here the main issue that we have is that when we set an input, the code will only capture one line. So we need to write a function that will keep taking these lines step by step until the user has stopped sending code, right? So we just need to build a small loop that will keep collecting the lines from the user until he types, for example, an end message. So let's do that one and define a new function here. So we do define get multi-line input. Then we do print, let's say paste your code, paste your Python function below. Then we do print, when done, type end on a new line and press enter. Right? Then what else can we, okay, now we need to print. We need to add this dash. Right? We'll just print this to make it look cleaner in the output. We'll just give a lines 40 times. Then we do lines equal, so we make a list. So while true, we run the loop here to collect each line until the user types end, right? So line equals input if line dot strip equals end break, right? So when they say end, we stop the loop. And until then, we keep on appending or adding the lines to this lines list, which will in the end be the whole function the user has posted. So lines.append line. And finally, we just return. Let's give it -n dot join lines, right? So this is just a small loop that we built. It will keep collecting the lines until the user types end. So this is a common pattern used in Python or PyTorch, and it's actually worth knowing. So let's now go ahead and continue to the next part. So let's now go ahead and continue to the main function. Okay. So we come down here and we can now start doing the main function of our code. So define main, print, let's print these to make it look clean again. So just print this 50 times. And you don't really have to do this part. It's just to make it so that it looks clean and easier to read. Print AI Python code reviewer. Print '50 and print. So now we run the loop while true. Code equals get multi-line input. If not code.strip, then we print no code entered. Try again, right? And we set a new line and continue. Then now we print the system message that the code is being reviewed. So we do and reviewing your code. And we do review equals review code, and we put here the code that we have, right? So now we can do, let's do print, let's say print the review results now. So we go ahead and type out review results. So now we print again. Now we print review print. And let's make sure to fix the typo here. Okay. So now we do again input, and now we ask the user, do you want to review another function? So review another function. Yes or no. And yeah, let's put dot strip lower so it won't be case sensitive. And this is recommended so we avoid some bugs that we can get sometimes when they have uppercase. So let's just do strip dot lower. Then the if again is not equal to yes, then print happy coding. Then we break the loop, right? And otherwise it will just keep on asking it for the function. It will just keep getting another function and reviewing it. Then finally can conclude the main function if name equals main. So this is the final loop that we can review multiple functions in one session, and we put the clean formatting here and a simple exit condition. So now we can go ahead and review the code. So before we continue, there were a few typos here. For example, here system equals system prompt, right? We need to add commas here. And also here role user, we need to add a comma, right? So yeah, now that we can continue and test our code. Alright, so now let's see our Python code and set up or test both a bad function and a good function and see how the AI will work, right? So first we're going to test a slightly messy function, which will calculate the average of a list. It works, but it's not very, the syntax is not really that, how to say, Pythonic, right? It doesn't handle the edge cases, so let's just put that in. So first we run the code here to open the prompt, right? Over here. So now let me grab the code that I just described, right? So we just paste this and let's see. So summary calculates the average list of numbers, right? The bugs over here, it does not handle empty lists, which is correct. As you can see here, it does not handle empty lists at all. And the issues is it uses index-based loop instead of direct iteration. It has poor variable naming, right? It has 1, which is not a good variable name. And it has T, it's just not Pythonic. And for example here, improved version, it asks us for, or gives us the improved version of the code we have. So as you can see, it handles the division by 0, right? So it sees the edge cases and it also handles them properly. Now it's not, obviously it's not a very perfect code, but it's definitely an improved version from the one we just put it in. So, and the verdict, it says needs work, right? So, and this was intentionally a bad function to test whether the AI actually works or not. So now review another function. Let's say yes. Now let me grab a better function and see how it works. So if we say this, define calc average, right? This will also be similar in terms of the function it does, but it's just a better handled code. So let's see here, review. Okay, so summary calculates the average list of numbers, similar. Bugs, none found, right? So it doesn't have any bugs. Issues, it does not handle empty lists, right? So although it's a better code, it's not perfect. It still has some issues. And the improved version, as you can see here, it gives us this code now, the improved version it gave us, handles empty lists. So as you can see, the verdict is also good and it gives us an improvement. And that's how our Python code reviewer works in demo mode, right? It's safe, it's offline, you can use it directly from VS Code or your IDE, and it shows smart code feedback without worrying about using anything else, right? It just gives you direct input, how to improve it, and if there are any bugs, and the final verdict. And there we have it. Now the code is ready to go. So there we go. We have fully completed our model. So it will let you review your code and further improve your code. So the big takeaway from today is that the system prompt is actually really important because controlling the format of the AI output is the difference actually between a good and a bad model. And we'll be going deeper into that in the next episode. So, by the way, we're also going to be doing something more visual next episode. We will build a model that reads a PDF and lets you ask questions about it, right? And if you guys have any further questions or any other topics that you would like me to explore, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I will also be including the code in the description and any links I used, right? For example, the console.anthropic or .com, right? So if you guys found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.